things started happening. We started having hit records. People were coming from everywhere to be a part of Motown. They came to Motown with hope. They knew that if they got into Motown, it could happen for them. And they were right. I didn't have a plan. I didn't have a formula for audition. I was just looking for things. I was looking for singers, songwriters, producers, even musicians. If you got something and it was working, I wanted it. Now, in the auditions, since I had no formula, no procedure, I would say to you, you're a singer? Start singing. I was cold like that. I didn't know no other way. And I found out later that I had to change my way of handling auditions. What happened was, we're having a cigarette break. Larry Maxwell, who was one of our fantastic promotion guys, and all of a sudden, we see this guy running down the street towards the studio. And he had this gun in his hand, and he had an overcoat on, and he was naked, and his coat was flying, and his business was flying, and he had the gun in his hand, he was firing. And Maxwell say, man, that guy's shooting at you. I said, shooting at me? And by the time he got close enough, and the police come up and they grabbed him and all that, I remembered he was one of the guys that came for an audition. And he had this terrible song and this terrible voice, and I told him, man, you better keep your job, get out of here, what are you trying to do, blah, blah, blah. And I had no idea, I hurt this guy's feelings. The ones who sang the worst, with the worst songs, are the most passionate, and they're the most dangerous. And he said, Mickey Stevenson, you ruined my life, you ruined my life. And they pulled him away, and I said, oh, man. So now I had to change my way of handling auditions.
In the first 5 years of Motown, thousands of people auditioned in person, and hundreds of tapes were mailed to Hitsville. Mickey Stevenson reviewed them all.
Sometimes they come as a singer, and they were better as a writer. Sometimes they would come as a writer, and they were better as a singer. But I didn't have any formula. I just listened, picked out what I thought was right, and then I'd spend time with that person. And I found some incredible talent there.
Mickey has always been a good talker. Mickey's what you call a convincer. You know what I mean? As far as convincing people to do what he feels like they should be doing. And most of the time, when he convinces people, it's been for their betterment.
I'm in Chicago, and I find this one girl. So I tell the girl, I said, look, this is your town. You know all the musicians. Okay, I need some songs. When everybody's got the same thing, it ain't happening. Okay, I'm wore out. It's late. I can't take no more. They want to eat. They order some pizza. The pizza guy comes. It's late, like about 1 o'clock in the morning. He's walking down, white boy. I said, hey man, you coming at this hour but delivering pizzas on the south side of Chicago? You crazy? He said, I heard the music down the hall and you guys looking for songs and stuff. I said, man, why don't you leave that pizza and get out of here? He said, no, man. I heard you guys was playing. I thought maybe I'm a songwriter and all that. And he kept talking and talking. And I said, hold it. I told the guy at the piano, get up. Can you play piano? He said, yeah. I said, let me hear your song. The guy sits down on the piano, makes an arpeggio. He starts singing. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me. I said, stop, man. You wrote that song? He said, yeah. I said, you got any more? He said, yeah. He started, I said, don't play it. I reached in my pocket, pulled out the money for the pizza, then I peeled off another $100. I said, you meet me at the airport, I'll take you to Detroit and make you a songwriter. He had the money in his hand. At this point, the guys in the apartment said, hey man, you must be crazy. That guy's not gonna meet you. You just throw away $100. Some kind of fool or something. Ron turned to me and he said, suppose I don't show up. I said, I lose $100. you lose a career. That was it. He walked away. I'm at the airport, and I look up. Here he comes walking down the aisle. We fly to Detroit. I take him right into the studio, go to the finance department. I said, listen, I want you to make him a check out for the payroll. I want to make you give him a check for his hotel. He'll be here for a few days. And I'm signing him to a contract as one of the writers with the company. Well, the finance guy thought I had lost my mind. And he said, what? And I just looked at him and walked away. About 20, 30 minutes later, Berry comes over to my office. He said, man, what are you doing? Wait a minute, BG. Hang on one second. I say, Ron, come here. Play that song you played for me in Chicago. Ron sat down at the piano. For once in my life, I have someone who needs me, someone I needed so long. For once unafraid, he started crying. That's blue when life leads me, long as I know. Berry say, stop. He looked at me, he looked at Ron, he just walked out of the office.
Mickey turned out to be the greatest A&R man ever. He wrote, produced, brought in musicians like the Funk Brothers, brought my attention to Little Stevie Wonder. He even brought in a pizza delivery guy who was a writer who wrote the biggest standard song we had, a song called For Once in My Life. His name was Ron Miller.
Mickey went around to little clubs in Detroit and one by one gathered the guys who became the Funk Brothers. And they were like an awesome band. And they played on almost every Motown record ever in the early days of Motown. So Mickey is responsible for putting that group together. And that is very, very, very significant to the history of Motown.
The Funk Brothers created that unmistakable sound that launched 1,000 hits.
And we did not make hit records for white people. We did not make hit records for black people. We made hit records for everybody on the planet. And that's the excellence that we strive to have.
Now, I want to say something also about the A&R department who supported us. Without the good A&R department, that music would not have happened the way it happened. I want to acknowledge Mickey Stevenson. Yeah! All right? Mickey Stevenson, I say this all the time, Mickey Stevenson was by far, in my estimation, and probably the musician's estimation, the best A&R person in Motown ever produced, okay? Because he had a feel for us and the Funk Brothers. He kept us all in unity.
He was somebody that you just kind of held in awe and wondered about because he was so mysterious but so knowledgeable about the industry and what he was doing, and you just kind of wondered where did he get all this information from and how did, he know so much at that time, but he did.
I noticed sometimes Mickey would come up and he would stand up in the control booth. I very seldom saw Berry, but I saw Mickey all the time because he was a writer. I didn't know he was a writer. And no matter who it was, they come in naturally when a new musician comes in, he wants to know who's the power. It was Mickey. You don't usually find an executive with that kind of clout where you call him Mickey. It's Mr. Stevenson or something. Now that would be fitting, but he didn't come off like that where he would demand that kind of approach to it, and it worked very well for him.
We were dedicated to getting the best out of those that we signed to this company. And that meant all of us. I'm talking about from the producers to the writers. We were working at our best to give them the best so they could be the best. It was a phenomenal feeling. It became a family-type feeling. That was, I guess that was part of the dream of Berry Gordy. We all bought into that dream.